All right, let's go ahead and put a wrap on night number one of the WrestleMania festivities from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Also, in this video, I'm going to give a bit of a rant on the current Hall of Fame procedure in WWE. Stay tuned for that. But to put a bow on what we saw from Las Vegas in night one, all I got to say is I really, truly hope that what we see in night two is a drastic uptick, because I'm not going to go on record and call this the worst WrestleMania I've seen so far, but of all the night ones, since they split it to a two-night affair, this takes the cake. No bullshit here. We saw more extracurricular garbage than we did matches, right? I'm not embellishing when I tell you the entrance of Cody Rhodes for the main event was longer than the Liv Morgan-Stephanie Vicaire match and the AJ Lee-Becky Lynch match combined. We spent time on the pre-show having whatever that stupid, silly bullshit nonsense was with the Usos, dancing and prancing and carrying on and eating. Then the match itself was. Okay? This is too much. If this is TKO's idea of what a show should look like, we're in for some dark fucking times, man. Some real dark times. And I'm going to tell you right now, do not read into what I'm about to say here as an endorsement for Vince McMahon, the human being. We all know he's grimy. He's a scumbag. That goes well without saying. But at the end of his time where he called the shots, so many people said that it can't get any worse. It can't get any worse. And there were some out there with logic that said, oh, trust me, yes, it can. Here we are. Here we are, right? Heading into WrestleMania, the first with involvement with ESPN. They took a main event of night one that is the easiest fucking story you can possibly tell. And believe me, sometimes when it comes to storytelling, keep it simple, stupid applies. And they turned it into a convoluted, disjointed, overbooked fucking fiasco leading up, where you didn't know, if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was Cody Rhodes versus Pat McAfee heading into WrestleMania, not Rhodes versus Randy Orton. And the fact that Orton and McAfee had zero on-screen interactions before this, and all of a sudden they're BFFs, right? And by the way, last year at Mania, Cena's whole push was, I'm here to kill the business, and Cody was to save it. Now Cody is the one killing the business. What are we fucking doing here? Seriously, what are we doing? At least the shit with The Rock, what they were aiming for before Dwayne said fuck this and decided I'm not attaching my name to this garbage, at least you could say that made some modicum of sense on surface if they'd have let it play out. This makes none. This, I've seen many people call it this, reminds me of Vince Russo's scatterbrained fucking booking that you saw at the end of WCW. This reminds me of his shit he did in TNA. So, yeah, those of you that said Vince McMahon's booking at the end was awful, it was. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but could it get worse? Here we are, man. Here we are. And the match itself between Orton and Rhodes, I know there's some grumblings that Orton may be hurt, so he was working at, we'll say less than 75%. Fair play. But that match seemed to drag on and on and on, and it picked up at the end, but then the end booking, right? Orton RKO's McAfee. Right? They booked the entire match where Orton is the sympathetic babyface. Watch it. You wouldn't know who the face and who the heel in this match was. And I get it, it's 2026. That demographic is not what it was back in the day. But if you have Rhodes coming in as the heel, or the face, and Orton coming in as the heel, the script is flipped. What we saw at the end was what it should have been the entire match, with Orton being the aggressor. But it's a fitting end to just a completely fucked up path to WrestleMania that these two took, that were put that way by whoever did this, whether it's R. Emanuel, Triple H, doesn't really matter. Whoever booked this shit booked the match accordingly. So it was a mess. But it's not over. We saw Orton show that aggressiveness. And look, if this RKO of McAfee is them hard resetting and realizing, hey, we fucked up, great. But you don't need to do this shit going into Mania. This is something you should have done going into Backlash, okay? Have Orton lose to Rhodes. Fair. Have him go out there and do all this stuff. Have him actually keep him face. Keep him face. Try to have him do all the right things that Orton was doing. Try to play it fair. Then he loses. Then he snaps. Then he elicits Pat McAfee, TKO. Look, I'm trying to get the powers that be to put me ahead. Fair. Okay, fine. Is it lame? Sure. Is it much better than this horseshit? Abso-fucking-lutely. 100%. But this feud will continue, and hopefully now TKO, Ari Emanuel, they take their shit hooks out of it and just go the fuck away. Just go away, okay? Ari has no business booking this shit. Ari needs to, he wants to turn Pat McAfee into the next Sylvester Stallone. I like Pat. Don't take this the wrong way. Good luck with that, though. Okay, there is one Sylvester Stallone. You want McAfee to be the next Sylvester Stallone? Get him in movies. Get him out of WWE. Don't put him in the main event of Mania where he is the focal point of a feud between two fucking Hall of Famers that have a rich history with one another. That goes back almost 20 years now? Yeah. Liv Morgan, Steph Fakir. I've seen some say they liked it. I've seen some say they didn't like it. Match itself. They didn't have enough fucking time. We spent too much extracurricular moments on garbage to let these women fully cook. And fully realize here, Liv Morgan is never going to go out there and put on 5-star classics. Okay, that's not her style. She's good. She's very good. But, you're not going to get a mat technical clinic with her. Okay? But 7-8 minutes, that's not enough time to even get the fucking stove warmed. So I can't really criticize it too much. I think they went out there with the time they had. They made the best of what they had. End result, no real surprise. We knew that Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez were going to probably factor in, help Liv win. This is a right booking decision. Question is, what's next? Right? I'm going to give you a little secret. I see a swerve happening. I see a turn happening where Liv winds up that babyface. And she gets beat down, and we now see a feud with either Roxanne, Raquel, or in some cases both. One of the two of them will be feuding with Liv Morgan going forward. I think this story with Stephanie has reached its peak, and Stephanie had a decent run. I mean, she made the most of, in case of this match, what she was handed, a rather poorly booked title run, but she made the most of it. And I think you'll see her back here again very, very soon. All right, AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I'm assuming this is the accumulation of that feud that's been going on. Again, no real surprise here. AJ had won the first 2-3 meetings between them. And there had been some grumblings coming in that she was going to take a even longer hiatus after this. So even from the beginning, we knew that the path to the two seemed to be leading to a match at Mania, with Becky getting her win back, and that's exactly what happened. The match itself was rather inoffensive. It was short. And in this case, I said, you don't get enough time. Look, we saw what happened when the two of them went at it for a longer period of time, and it got off the rails. Okay, now we're not talking Jade Cargill off the rails, but it was, let's keep it as basic as possible. They went out there, had a decent match. It served its purpose. Becky wins. She moves on. I'm interested to see what happens next with her and Jessica Carr. Because I'll tell you right off, it looked like, all this time we thought the two were going to feud, but it looked like just some subtle Easter eggs that the two may be in cahoots with one another. We'll see how that plays out. Bianca Belair's pregnant. That was a big announcement yesterday. That's cool. Some don't like it. Some love it. Some hate it. There's a place for it. I get it. They're appealing to all demographics. And best of wishes to Ms. Belair and Montez Ford in their pending parenthood. It's first day of the rest of your life. Best thing that ever happened to me. So cool little WrestleMania moment, even if it doesn't appeal to your demographic. Women's 4-way tag match. You had the team of Charlotte and Alexa Bliss taking on the team, was supposed to be the Bellas, we'll talk about that here in a couple of minutes, versus the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and Lash Legend. Coming in for weeks, there had been questions, can Nikki go, can she not? She said at Mania, or at the Hall of Fame, that she's good, even if she had a walking boot on. But we heard the whole switcheroo, and Of course, Mike Johnson, PWA Insider, broke 24 hours earlier that Paige had re-signed and was going to be in this match. So when Paige came out, those of us that follow the dirt sheets and follow social media, which is 3/4 of the fucking IWC, I should say 90% of the IWC, there's some that don't do the X thing, but be that as it is, was very little surprised when she came out. But it was, again, a nice moment. Paige returns to the WWE. They win the women's tag titles. Great, hurrah. We'll see how it goes next. This women's tag division, honestly, it's been a complete shit show from the beginning. So, whereas I think it's a cool moment, it's hard to really get excited for much more than this, because these women tag belts are just, they're continuing in the same cyclical pattern they've been in since fucking Sasha and Bayley dropped them so many years ago at Mania to the Iconics. I mean, I don't want to tell you how long this division's just been. It's there. It's belts. That's all I can really say for it. But again, a cool moment. Glad to see Paige back. I'm assuming this will be the probably final run of her career. She's going to close it out in WWE. Good to her. I know I'm missing a match or two here. Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre. 14 minutes, they went out there and they beat the shit out of each other. Storyline's been good. No convoluted mess. Keep it simple. Honestly, these two should have been in the main event of night one in the four-way dance like was originally proposed, but that's a different debate for a different time. Wish this would have got a little bit more time. They deserved it. They earned it. And they would have delivered. But this match wound up being, again, for the only second ever unsanctioned match in WrestleMania history. And I think the 10th or 11th total in WWE history. It did what it was supposed to do. They could have seen more, but it was on ESPN. Right? They decided to put this on ESPN, and they were handcuffed. Last, we got the nonsense with the Usos and LA Knight versus IShowSpeed and Logan Paul and, I forgot a big one. I'll talk about that here in a minute. Logan Paul and Austin Theory. Can we just do away with this vision shit altogether? It's done. Okay, it's done. But the big spot of this match came at the end. IShowSpeed does his big athletic maneuver, whatever. Oh, we're going to get a WrestleMania moment with a social media influencer. We all know the guy's we all know the guy is athletic as hell. Okay? Look at the way he took that spear from Braun Breaker at the Royal Rumble last year. He practically got folded in half. He has an aptitude for this. I'll give him that. But we're taking matches away from Julia and Io Sky, Tiffany Stratton, Carmelo Hayes. The list goes on and on. We're taking matches away from them so this guy can do an athletic spot. Solid Monster said it best. WWE is becoming fantasy camp for superstars outside of the realm of pro wrestling. And the match I want to talk about, the one that absolutely stole the show, no surprise here, this was on the main card. Gunther, Seth Rollins. They went out there and put on a match, as you expected, that was every bit as good as we thought it would be. Storyline coming in this is Gunther now is owed a favor by Paul Heyman. Was it a page out of last year's playbook with Punk, Rollins, and Reigns? Sure. They had to do something, though. I usually don't like copy-paste, but they had to do something because the circumstances beyond their control, whether it would be WWE not wanting to wait a couple more weeks to see if Breaker could get cleared, which is fair. Look, if you're going to do Seth Rollins and Breaker, you need a couple more build than a couple of weeks, even though those two do have history together. Let it build up, let it cook. Fair play. And then Gunther Mysterio, to me, that's a SmackDown match. That's a Raw match. That's not something you do on a WrestleMania. So I get it. They had to do something. This is a WrestleMania quality match. They went out there and they delivered the goods. Gunther exercises his 2-year WrestleMania demons. Remember, he lost to Sami Zayn and then last year to Jey Uso. Picks up a decisive win over Seth Rollins with interference by Breaker, which is going to kickstart that again. He's now back. And then Gunther, well, we'll find out what his favor is. I have a strong suspicion, though, it involves one Brock Lesnar. So there you have it. If I had to grade this night one as a whole, I don't know, I would give it the matches for what they had time-wise, give it a B. B minus. The overall booking, a D. Again, you're giving these people not one match outside of the main event went more than 14 minutes. You have a bunch of matches that go under 10 fucking minutes. This is WrestleMania. This isn't Raw. This isn't SmackDown. This isn't Saturday night's main event. Okay? This isn't even a second-tier PLE. This is WrestleMania. Right? You got to give them more time than this and less time with the stupid bullshit. Look, the Bianca Belair stuff with Cena, that's cool. I have no problems with that at all. But the dancing, the yeeting, the, 20 minutes of celebrating. I mean, come on now. Come on. Give these people time to cook. They spend all year for this. They bust their ass. They take the sacrifices, and they can't get more than 10 minutes. It's bullshit. Lastly, speaking of bullshit, WWE Hall of Fame Friday night. Again, I'm not going to complain about what so many are, that Stephanie McMahon had so much time to talk. Look, she's Vince Jess's granddaughter. She's Vince's daughter. She's Triple H's wife. Right? She's a McMahon. Those who are in power will always call the shots in the wrestling business, and they will get the most play. That's just the nature of the business. I don't have a problem with it at all. What I do have a problem with, Sid Eudy, the late Psycho Sid Justice, whatever moniker you want to remember him by, cannot get more than a 2-minute fucking video clip in the legacy wing. Okay? And I know people online are defending this shit. Well, he's dead. TKO doesn't want to put that. I don't give a fuck, okay? People get inducted posthumously all the time in Hall of Fames. They've inducted people posthumously in the WWE Hall of Fame on a regular basis. You couldn't give Sid, his family, 10 minutes up there to give a speech. You couldn't find somebody in his business that was friends with Sid, that thought highly of Sid, that's got a name that would induct him. Bullshit. But you put Dennis fucking Rodman in, who wrestled a grand total of 0 matches under the WWE umbrella. 0. Right? Who I think has a handful of wrestling matches total to his name. What the hell are we doing here? Seriously. Look, I get Bad News Brown. And I love Bad News' family. His daughter Frances is an amazing lady. She really is. Her and I get along very well. She's cool as could be. Very approachable, very talkable, very kind. Bad News, his time in WWE was short, okay? He was there for, I believe, a couple years, right? Where he was near the top and I think had some main event spots. You're talking somebody who was a high card guy, but he wasn't one that if you talk to the hardcore demographic, they're going to really remember him. Or excuse me, not the hardcore, the casual demographic. That time, they're not going to remember. The hardcores will. People like me. I think Bad News' biggest problem was he was too soon. You put Bad News in the Attitude Era, you put him in the Ruthless Aggression Era, this guy's a fucking, a megastar, right? Him and Steve Austin, that's selling out pay-per-views. You put him in there with The Rock, that's selling out pay-per-views. You put him in the Ruthless Aggression Era, even the same thing. That's where he was suited for. But this guy was a real McCoy, a true shooter, legit badass in an era where it was all about the larger-than-life cartoon character gimmicks that didn't fit who he was. So I get it. Him getting into Legacy, fine. Did he deserve more? Sure, but I get why WWE did it. Sid, you're talking a guy who headlined 2 Manias. One against Hulk Hogan, right? Whether you like Hogan or not, as a human being, that's your prerogative. Okay, this is not what this video is about. Hulk Hogan, without him, WrestleMania doesn't happen. Hulk Hogan is the Babe Ruth of professional wrestling. Right? We're not talking Terry Bollea here, we're talking Hulk Hogan. So before anybody comes on me with the shit that Hogan did and said, I get it, I understand, believe me. We're not talking about him as a man. We're talking about him as a wrestler where the two sides can be intercepted. And Hogan's impact on the business, we all know what it is. And anybody that says otherwise is denying themselves. Sid headlined a Mania against Hulk Hogan. Sid headlined a Mania against The Undertaker. Talking 2 of the all-time GOATs. Okay? Hogan's on Mount Rushmore, and you can certainly make an argument that Undertaker is too. If he's not, he's certainly top 6, 7 of all time. Sid worked with Shawn Michaels. Won a world title off Shawn Michaels. Remember that? Madison Square Garden? Yeah. Sid had always been a main event player. He was a main event player in WWE, main event player in WCW. And this guy gets a fucking 2-minute video in a legacy wing because TKO doesn't want to induct dead people. Then change your fucking policy. Okay? And I don't buy that because I'll tell you right now, if it was, God forbid, if one of the icons of this business passed away, I'm not wishing this into existence, but if one of them passed away, right, before they could be inducted, which would never happen, but follow my lead here. Do you think they would get the legacy wing? Bullshit. This is all a crock of fucking garbage, and it's TKO meddling their shit in where it doesn't belong. So change your fucking policies. That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, that wraps up for night 1. Hopefully night 2 is substantially better, because I got to tell you, the matches themselves were fine. Nothing to, really frown about. I said the worst I can say is that Orton and Rhodes, outside of the booking, was dry at times, was slow. But it is what it is. Orton's coming in hurt. So again, hopefully we see a lot more out of night 2 to really fix up the bullshit we saw in night 1. Thanks for listening.